You are still watching the iDebate Challenge semifinals of 2007, and we still have St. Scholastica's Academy and the University of Negros, Occidental, Recoletos, and they're debating freedom versus security. Now, Justice Laurel, in one of the landmark cases of Philippine constitutional law, said that the excess of freedom might amount to anarchy, but the excess of governmental intervention in the name of security might amount to authoritarianism. Now, can we strike a balance? Now, we will ask our speakers tonight, is it not possible to strike a balance between security and freedom? Who would like to?
I believe that it's possible because you can have a free country and still have security as long as it doesn't infringe upon the rights of the people. But what you have with the Patriot Act and the Human Security Act is you're already encroaching upon the rights of citizens. You're taking away their privacy and you're taking away the right to freedom of speech. We believe that a country should have laws that still don't infringe upon the Bill of Rights and the right of people to privacy and that kind of.
Okay, is it possible to strike a balance?
Exactly. Freedom and security could coexist, but we must first prioritize our security before we could freely exercise our freedom. And since that you said, and we all know that these security acts are always based on the constitution of the countries, and the constitution always protects the people, and that the constitution will never violate the rights of the people. So,
what then is the purpose of ensuring security of people? Is it to protect freedom?
ensuring security of the people means to protect the freedom and to regulate these freedom for us to avoid chaos in the future.
So security is not a means in itself? Or it's not an end in itself?
Security?
Security?
Security is our way of protecting our freedom, because we can never exercise our freedom without security at all.
Okay, reaction?
The war on terror has potentially no end. If we have more large-scale terrorist incidents, how bad are things going to get? Are you going to have a police state and a total authoritarian state just because you're afraid? We can't let our countries be ruled by paranoia. We have to let them be ruled by reason. And we can't step on rights of people because these are basic to our survival. We need rights to privacy and rights to freedom of speech. You can't take that away.
But imposing security does not mean to step on the rights. As we've said earlier, it is only to regulate and to put under the control of the law. And you said earlier that in imposing that in
but
the
listening
human
to
security,
private phone calls is not regulation. This is already a violation. This isn't
that is not a
at all.
violation because.
Of course it is.
Because in the Human Security Act, because the privacy of communication correspondence shall be inviolable except upon lawful order of the court or when public safety or order requires otherwise as prescribed by the law.
I know, but like what?
In the U.S. Patriot Act, it is allowed.
But will you be wired up if you did not do anything suspicious?
Yes. Example: the FBI agents who were caught who were using the information they got illegally. What can you say about that? They use
these FBIs have said again and again, these FBI are punishable also by the law because the one is exempted from the U.S. Patriot
But what if your whole
Act.
government is corrupt? And how sure are you that there
That is
aren't
only
any
in that
terrorists in your own
situation.
government?
And without
one at a time, please.
and without the inspector from the Justice Department conducting a search, they wouldn't even know that they were doing this. They have been doing it for how many years?
That
It's not
happened. There was an inspection.
One at a time.
There was an inspection that happened. That means there is still security, and it means that those people who abuse their rights to the privacy or wiretapping of the people can be punished by the law.
They were just lucky that the inspector was there. What if the inspector wasn't there?
They would be continuing to do the things that they were doing.
Exactly.
They would be continuing to get inside people's bank accounts. They have access to people's credit cards.
They have access to people's credit cards. They can get your credit card numbers and go shopping with your credit cards. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, and
Well, they have the power to do
Are you
it.
aware that, for example, FBI agents or something
I don't
against
think
you?
that is true because the U.S. Patriot Act was based from the American Constitution. Why would we
Are
do
you aware
that?
that the U.S. Patriot Act gives national security letters?
What?
Are you aware that...
Do you even know what national security letters are?
National security letters. Once you're given a national security letter that is enforced by the FBI, you are not allowed to say anything. You would just let
But
them
you
go
will be
inside.
only given the national security letter if
No,
you're only a
these
suspect.
national security letters were misused, meaning the security that your trust that you're giving to your government is not the one that's coming back to you. I mean, you trust them to the point that you're giving up your liberty,
And besides,
but to the point they're giving you
Then
security
if
that's not due
you're
to you.
against these acts, then what should work? We should abolish them, and what should work? What do you suggest will work? Are you suggesting that we should abolish the U.S. Patriot Act, and are you also suggesting that the American Constitution and the justice system is enough to protect the people?
You know that
was the American Constitution enough to protect the people from 9/11?
Okay, Mia.
Do you know that the American Constitution does not even agree anymore to the U.S. Patriot Act? Do you know that?
And besides, how sure are you that that act will be effective? I mean, according to the Ohio State University, the number of people who die at the hands of international terrorists is only generally a few hundred per year compared to the people who die in civil wars and car accidents.
What will work?
What will work? You don't have to infringe on the rights of people just to protect security because you're not even sure if that's going to work.
We're not saying that security is bad. We're just saying security that does not infringe on freedom. To the point that, for example, non-citizens in the United States are arrested just because of the mere fact that they look like a Middle Eastern person. They wear the same watch as the person that bombed a certain place. Or they just look suspicious. Do you know that? And they are caught without legal charges and without any evidence. And do you know Hamdi? He was actually a person who was detained for almost 3 years. And at the end, the U.S. government realized that he was an
But do you believe that the American Constitution and the justice system is enough to protect the Americans from terrorism?
No, the American Constitution can't even say no to the U.S. Patriot Act.
But are these Constitution enough?
Yes. The U.S. Constitution doesn't
Are you
even
sure that
agree
these
with
are
the
enough? Was the American Constitution enough to protect America from 9/11?
Basic human rights. Of course, you need to protect those rights,
Okay,
and freedom.